Here we go.
Hello guys, I'm CBMF Productions, and welcome back to DC Film Retrospective. Today's film is the first female-led film in the DCEU, starring the Amazon warrior herself, Wonder Woman. This film was in development for decades, ever since the late 90s, with various writers, and actresses being tossed around to do the film. Joss Whedon was the most notable name behind the project, with Angelina Jolie playing the title character. But things didn't go as planned as Whedon ultimately dropped from the project. The project would continue to be in development hell for the next decade until Patty Jenkins signed on to the film, who previously turned down the film a decade prior due to her unexpected pregnancy, but was glad to return to the project that she wanted to do her whole life. At this point, Warner Bros. Didn't need to worry about a director or casting, because Zack Snyder already casted Gal Gadot in the lead for BVS, which saved him from quitting acting altogether. Considering that she wasn't getting many roles apart from playing a side character in Fast and Furious 4 through 6, she trained hard for the part, despite already having military experience in Israel, which was mandatory in her country. And with Warner Bros. Taking the right approach, to go in the lighter direction from Snyder's films, but not in a forced way like Suicide Squad, the film was made and released in the theaters in June 2017, and was a massive financial hit, and the DCEU's first film to be praised by both critics and audiences alike, which hadn't happened in DC's filmography since Dark Knight Rises 5 years prior. Because of this, a sequel was quickly greenlit and is going to be released this summer at the time of this recording, along with a third film and a Themyscira spin-off film in the works. But anyways, with the history out of the way, let's get into the plot. The film was set in 1918, a century before the rest of the DCEU takes place, on an island, hidden from the rest of the world called Themyscira, an ancient island only consisting of Amazonian women warriors. The leader being Queen Hippolyta, played by Connie Nielsen, Diana's mother. When she was little, she wanted to be trained to be a warrior, but her mom forbid it. Secretly, she was trained by her aunt General Antopi, played by Robin Wright. When Diana's mom found out she was doing this, she was mad at first, but agrees for her to be trained, as the film classifies her as a woman and she's incredibly skilled. One day, seemingly everything goes as normal until she sees a plane crash into the water. She saves the man inside, who is Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, and all of a sudden, a bunch of German soldiers find the island, as the Amazonian warriors start fighting the soldiers with the warriors winning, but Antopi is killed in the process. Steve explains that a war is raging on in Europe, with a new weapon being invented called mustard gas invented by Isabel Moreau, also known as Dr. Poison, with a Phantom in the Opera-like face mask played by Elena Ayana, who is the head scientist for German General Ludendorff, played by Danny Houston, who plans on winning the war but use any means necessary to have Germany be victorious, including using a steroid powder that looks like cocaine, backed like PCP, that gives him super strength and will kill anybody that messes with him, including other generals to try to negotiate to end the war. Steve and Diana leave Themyscira, despite Diana's mom saying that she could never return when she leaves, to go to stop this war because it's the right thing to do, because she believes that Ludendorff is Ares, the god of war. It's explained in the opening that he went against Zeus's morals, and created war to mess with the human race, and she believes that if she uses the god killer, a sword, she can end the war. They arrive in London, and we get many scenes of Diana not fitting into society, as he manages to get support from Patrick Morgan, played by David Thewlis, a member of the Supreme War Council trying to negotiate with Germany, and gives funding to Steve to recruit his own team to stop the war because Steve stole plans with Dr. Poison, hence why he was chasing the opening, as they make the Belgium and no man's land, an empty space full of trenches, as Diana, because of how powerful she is able to stop Germany's attacks one by one as she saves people, including a village, as Steve and Diana start to kindle a romance. But Ludendorff makes it to Belgium for an elegant party as she plans to kill him, but Steve says that's a bad idea and it's the right time to do it. But Ludendorff ends up poisoning the village that Diana saved, and kills all the people in the process. She gets mad as Steve and decides to fight Ludendorff herself and kills him, but she realizes that the war is still going on because Steve shows up and says that killing one general doesn't end the war. Then it's revealed that Patrick Morgan is actually Ares, and reiterates what Steve says about how the humans started the war themselves, and that he just influenced them to do it. She then fights him in a super explosive third act, as Steve gets the plane containing all the mustard gas that was planned to be sent to the Allies, and flies it up all the way in the air where no one can be affected by it, as he shoots it and dies in the process. Out of rage, she almost kills Dr. Poison, but she realizes this is what Ares wants and lets her live, as she realizes the power of love and destroys him in the process. Realizing the sword wasn't the god killer, she was, made from Zeus, her father, and that makes Ares her half-brother. The film ends up with Diana in modern day, thanking Bruce via email for the photo that she got sent in BVS, that was also shown in its origin here, as she continues to save the world, donning her costume as credits roll. This film is a drastic shift from anything the DCU has done before, and I'm glad that it decided to change things up the right way. This is a really fun, lighthearted superhero film that just makes you feel good. This film just makes you feel good, and I can definitely see this film inspiring little kids, especially girls, to feel empowered and have Wonder Woman as a role model. Way better than Captain Marvel or the other female-led superhero films that have come out and flopped. Please don't suck, Black Widow. Please don't suck. This is definitely the best female-led superhero film we've gotten thus far in the comic genre, and it's just a blast to watch. Most of the film looks great. The color palette and correction is bright, but not an epilepsy warning way like Suicide Squad was. Themyscira looks breathtaking. Even No Man's Land and the trenches, when they're supposed to look ugly, looks leaps and bounds better than the previous 3 DCU films combined. The editing is all well handled and everyone gets a good performance. This ended up being Gal Gadot, who's good in BVS, but she wasn't the main focus. In here, she gets to have fun with the role, and it's so pleasant to be around. When she's walking through the streets of London not knowing certain rules of society, like carrying a giant sword in your dress, it all works for a good comedy, but not at the expense of her character. It's very balanced, and despite she's a god, she feels way more human than all the other DC heroes, and is super likable in the lead that proves that Gal Gadot was a great choice for the character. Another aspect that works that doesn't usually work in superhero films is the romance. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine have great chemistry with one another, and all their scenes feel real natural. It's probably the most emotional moment that hit me in the DCU thus far, apart from the mom scene in Shazam. Not to mention Chris Pine is great in the movie too, and even though I'm scratching my head as to how he comes back in the sequel, I'm glad we're getting more of this relationship, because it is one of the better superhero romances I've seen. Another big aspect I prove upon is the score. Without the best score to DCU thus far that feels epic and grand, fitting for the tone of the film. Patty Jenkins does a good job in the action department. It has that balance of feeling personal but also larger than life, like the No Man's Land sequence, and I like the tone of the film, feeling like an adventure, scaling across multiple countries, and the pacing helps it feel smooth and consistent. It's a nice breath of fresh air that was needed in this universe. Starting off, this is still reminiscent of Captain America: The First Avenger, from the time period, the romance story with the relationship between the superhero and the human, that ends up with one of them supposedly dying but ends up coming back in the sequel, the ragtag team of soldiers that joins them, which don't get much to do here and are mostly forgettable in my opinion, and what it does feel like DC copied that formula like Suicide Squad. Some of the comedy points, mainly with the secretary, I found nothing and I kinda wish they cut her character out of the film. The biggest issue I have with the film that keeps it from being great is the third act. The film prior does such a good job of doing the opposite of what the previous films in this universe have done and tries something different, especially with moments like Steve saying to Diana that killing one guy isn't going to end the war, and that humans don't act that way is really mature and a necessary message. But then what the plot was of the character we barely saw in the movie prior being the bad guy the whole time, and then turning into a CGI mess of a final battle that I think is even worse than the previous final battles in this universe, because it is so jarring and all over the place with Ares looking like a knockoff Magneto, and the tones are shifting all over the place. It's a terrible way to end off the film because it completely contradicts what the first 2 acts did so well, just to fall back on itself. It's not a deal breaker, but it could have ended up in a way better way. Along with the other villains in the film not really working for me, and are just villains for the sake of needing extra bad guys. Overall, Wonder Woman is a really good movie, and my favorite film in the DCU thus far. All its Birds of Prey really knocks it out of the park. It shows how to do like DC films in the right way with good acting, good cinematography that actually looks cinematic for once in this universe, funny comedy, great romance, solid score, smooth pacing, a fun story, likable characters, good direction, and more that makes this a really enjoyable movie, and the best female-led superhero film I've seen thus far. Again, Unless Birds of Prey or Black Widow really surprises me. There are some issues and some pointless side characters, some forced comedic moments, really bad villains, and in the church's final battle in the third act, that reminds what the first 2 acts set up, but as a whole, it's a blast of a movie and I cannot wait for the sequel. I give Wonder Woman a B+, an 8.5 out of 10, and a rent recommendation. So that's Wonder Woman. What do you guys think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comments and please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. I'm CBMF Productions and this isn't the last DC film to review because justice needs to be served.